400 feet beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a steel tube where sunlight never penetrates and fresh air is a memory, something magical is happening in the galley of a Virginia-class nuclear submarine. Petty Officer Martinez approaches a machine that submariners affectionately call the auto dog, dumps 1.5 gallons of reconstituted powder into water, pours the mixture into the sleek stainless steel unit, and pulls the handle. Within minutes, perfect, soft-serve ice cream begins flowing, the same creamy comfort food that has sustained Navy morale for over a century, now being produced in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. But here's where the numbers get interesting. While today's nuclear submarines serve crews of 130 to 150 sailors, the massive ice cream operations you might have heard about serving 1,500 sailors a day trace back to World War II, when the Navy operated dedicated ice cream barges that could produce 500 gallons per watch shift, supplying entire fleets of ships anchored at forward bases like Ulithi Atoll. Those floating ice cream factories were engineering marvels that could churn out 10 gallons of ice cream every 7 minutes, serving multiple vessels and thousands of personnel across the Pacific Theater. Modern submarine ice cream production is far more intimate, but no less important. Each nuclear submarine has become a self-contained ice cream parlor, operating hundreds of feet underwater, where the auto dog machines work around the clock to provide one of the few remaining luxuries available to crews during months-long deployments. This isn't just about dessert. It's about maintaining the psychological well-being of sailors who live in spaces smaller than most apartments, breathing recycled air and seeing the same 130 faces every day for months at a time. The tradition runs deep in Navy culture. Ice cream was declared so essential for morale that Secretary of the Navy James Forrestal once called it the most neglected of all the important morale factors, and made providing it to sailors his highest priority. Today, that legacy continues in the most unlikely place, deep underwater, where nuclear submarine chefs have perfected the art of creating frozen comfort food in conditions that would challenge any civilian chef on the surface. The story of submarine ice cream begins with one of the most audacious engineering projects in naval history, a concrete barge that cost the U.S. Navy $1 million and changed maritime dining forever. In 1945, as World War II raged across the Pacific, the Navy acquired a massive concrete vessel from the Army and transformed it into something unprecedented: a floating ice cream factory capable of producing industrial quantities of frozen dessert for combat forces thousands of miles from home. This wasn't just any barge. The BRL, barge, refrigerated large, measured 265 feet long by 48 feet wide and could store 1,500 tons of frozen meat alongside 500 tons of refrigerated vegetables, eggs, and dairy products. But the crown jewel was its ice cream production facility, an engineering marvel that could create 10 gallons of ice cream every 7 minutes. Working around the clock, this floating dessert factory produced approximately 500 gallons per watch shift, equivalent to 5 tons of ice cream daily, and could store 2,000 gallons in refrigerated compartments. The scale was staggering, but the motivation was deeply human. Secretary of the Navy James Forrestal had received a report from one of his assistants stating that ice cream, in my opinion, has been the most neglected of all the important morale factors. Forrestal took this seriously, making ice cream distribution his highest priority. The reasoning was sound. Ice cream provided essential calories, helped sailors cope with tropical heat, and most importantly, offered a psychological connection to home during the darkest periods of combat. The ice cream barge stationed at forward bases like Ulithi Atoll became legendary among Pacific Fleet personnel. Supply ships would approach the concrete factory to load hundreds of gallons of frozen treats, then distribute them to destroyers, cruisers, and aircraft carriers scattered across thousands of square miles of ocean. For many sailors, the arrival of ice cream supplies marked the difference between despair and hope during extended combat operations. Submarines played a unique role in this frozen economy. During World War II, if a destroyer or submarine rescued a downed pilot from an aircraft carrier, the pilot would be held ransom for 5 gallons of ice cream from the carrier's much larger cold storage facilities. This wasn't just naval humor. It was recognition that smaller vessels like destroyers and submarines had limited refrigeration capacity, making ice cream a precious commodity worth negotiating for. The tradition reached almost mythical status during the Battle of the Coral Sea in May 1942. When the USS Lexington was struck by Japanese torpedoes and began sinking, some crew members made an extraordinary choice before abandoning ship. Rather than immediately heading for the lifeboats, they broke into the ship's freezers and consumed every container of ice cream aboard the doomed vessel. Survivors later described scooping ice cream into their helmets and licking them clean before lowering themselves into the Pacific. This World War II legacy established ice cream as more than dessert in Navy culture. It became a symbol of American ingenuity, comfort, and the military's commitment to maintaining morale under impossible circumstances. Today, just about every seagoing vessel in the Navy has a soft-serve ice cream machine, continuing a tradition born from concrete barges and combat zones, now perfected in the silent depths where nuclear submarines patrol. Step into a modern nuclear submarine galley and you'll find a piece of equipment that represents one of the most beloved technological innovations in naval history. The soft-serve ice cream machine that submariners have affectionately nicknamed the Auto Dog. This isn't your typical McDonald's ice cream dispenser. This is a precision-engineered device designed to operate reliably in conditions that would destroy most commercial food equipment. The name Auto Dog comes from Navy slang culture, where sailors use creative terminology to describe their equipment. As the practice of Navy sailors to use slang to describe their gear, the ice cream machine earned its nickname from the manner in which it dispenses the stuff. Pull the handle, and out comes perfectly formed soft-serve ice cream with the same consistency you'd expect from any land-based ice cream parlor, except you're getting it 400 feet underwater in a steel tube cruising through ocean depths. The operation appears deceptively simple, but the engineering behind it is remarkable. The process begins with a submarine cook taking reconstituted ice cream powder, a heat-pasteurized mixture designed for long-term storage without refrigeration, and combining it with precisely measured water. You dump the powder into 1.5 gallons of water, pour it into the machine, pull the handle, and poof, instant Auto Dog, explains one submarine veteran. This streamlined process eliminates the complex ingredient management that traditional ice cream making would require in submarine conditions. But creating frozen desserts underwater presents unique technical challenges that civilian ice cream operations never face. Submarine power systems must carefully balance electrical loads between critical navigation systems, life support, and non-essential equipment, like ice cream machines. The Auto Dog operates on the same electrical grid that powers sonar systems, nuclear reactor controls, and oxygen generation, meaning ice cream production must be scheduled around operational priorities and power availability. Temperature management becomes particularly complex in submarine environments. While the machines are designed to operate in controlled conditions, submarines experience dramatic temperature fluctuations as they dive through thermoclines, layers of water with different temperatures that can affect internal ship systems. The ice cream machines must maintain consistent freezing temperatures regardless of whether the submarine is cruising through tropical surface waters or diving beneath Arctic ice. Maintenance represents another significant challenge. Unlike shore-based ice cream equipment that can be easily serviced by specialized technicians, submarine Auto Dogs must be maintained by crew members using parts and tools carried on board. Submarine cooks often become expert repair technicians, learning to diagnose compressor issues, replace worn seals, and perform preventive maintenance that keeps their machines operational during months-long deployments without external support. The production capacity of these machines is perfectly calibrated for submarine operations. While they can't match the massive output of World War II ice cream barges, they're designed to serve 130 to 150 crew members multiple times per day. During typical operations, the Auto Dog produces enough soft-serve ice cream to provide each crew member with generous servings for dessert after meals, late-night snacks for watchstanders, and special occasion treats during celebrations or morale-boosting events. Most remarkably, these machines represent the democratization of a luxury that was once reserved for large surface ships with extensive galley facilities and dedicated food service spaces. In the confined world of submarine operations, ice cream transcends its role as simple dessert to become a critical component of crew psychology and nutrition management. The importance becomes clear when you consider the unique dietary challenges facing submariners during extended underwater deployments. After approximately 2 weeks at sea, fresh food disappears entirely, leaving crews dependent on preserved, dried, and frozen provisions for months at a time. At this point in deployment, ice cream becomes one of only 2 primary sources of vitamin D available to submarine crews, the other being powdered milk, which most sailors find significantly less appealing. This nutritional role isn't trivial. Vitamin D deficiency can lead to bone weakening, immune system problems, and mood disorders, serious concerns when crew members are already dealing with the psychological stress of prolonged underwater isolation. Ice cream provides essential vitamins, proteins, and minerals in a form that crew members actually want to consume, making it an effective delivery mechanism for nutrition that might otherwise be difficult to maintain. But the psychological benefits extend far beyond basic nutrition. Ice cream produces a physiological response that triggers positive memories and associations, causing those who eat the frozen treat to subconsciously think about calming childhood experiences, family gatherings, and peaceful moments at home. For submariners living in an environment where privacy doesn't exist and personal space is measured in inches, these brief psychological escapes become essential for maintaining mental health during months of isolation. The cultural importance of ice cream is institutionalized through the gadunk system, Navy slang that originally referred to ice cream but has expanded to include all junk food and snack items. The gadunk bar, or snack area where ice cream is served, functions as more than a food distribution point. It becomes an informal social gathering space where crew members can temporarily escape the rigid military hierarchy and interact on a more personal level. Proceeds from gadunk sales are typically used to fund crew services, recreational activities, and emergency loans, creating a crew welfare system funded by ice cream and snacks. In submarine culture, access to ice cream serves as both reward and comfort. Submarine commanders understand this dynamic and often use ice cream availability as a morale management tool. During particularly stressful operational periods when crews are working extended hours or facing challenging missions, the availability of fresh ice cream can provide a psychological boost that helps maintain crew effectiveness. Conversely, ice cream machine breakdowns are treated as serious morale issues that require immediate attention. The ritual of ice cream consumption also provides structure and routine in an environment where natural time markers don't exist. Without sunlight, weather changes, or normal civilian routines, submarine crews depend on scheduled activities to maintain their sense of time and normalcy. The regular availability of ice cream after meals, during late-night watch changes, or special occasion celebrations creates anticipated moments that help crews psychologically navigate long deployments. Perhaps most importantly, ice cream represents continuity with civilian life and American culture. While submariners may be operating in hostile waters thousands of miles from home, the simple act of enjoying vanilla or chocolate soft serve connects them to ice cream parlors, summer evenings, and family celebrations they've temporarily left behind. In this way, the Autodog serves not just as food service equipment, but as a technological bridge between the extreme environment of submarine operations and the normal civilian world that crews are sworn to protect. The logistics of producing ice cream aboard a nuclear submarine reveal the extraordinary complexity of maintaining comfort food operations in one of the world's most challenging environments. Every aspect of ice cream production must be carefully coordinated with the submarine's operational requirements, from power management to ingredient storage to crew service schedules that accommodate the unique demands of underwater life. Space limitations create the first major challenge. Submarine galleys operate in areas roughly the size of a small bedroom, where every cubic inch serves multiple purposes. The Autodog ice cream machine must compete for precious floor space with essential cooking equipment, food storage, and the movement of culinary specialists preparing meals for 130 to 150 crew members 4 times daily. The machine's placement requires careful consideration of workflow patterns, ensuring that ice cream production doesn't interfere with critical meal preparation while remaining accessible for regular maintenance and cleaning. Ingredient management presents another layer of complexity unique to submarine operations. The ice cream powder must be stored in moisture-proof containers that can withstand months underwater without compromising quality or safety. Unlike surface vessels that can resupply regularly, submarines may carry their entire ice cream inventory for 3 to 6 months, requiring careful calculation of consumption rates and storage requirements. The powder must be rotated through inventory using first-in, first-out protocols to prevent spoilage, and backup supplies must be maintained in case of contamination or equipment failure. Power management becomes critical during extended operations when every electrical system competes for available capacity. The Autodog's compressor and freezing systems require consistent electrical supply, but submarines must prioritize power distribution based on operational needs. During silent running operations, when submarines minimize electrical usage to avoid detection, ice cream production may be suspended entirely. Submarine electricians must coordinate with galley personnel to schedule ice cream production during periods when power loads allow, often requiring advanced planning and coordination with watch schedules. Equipment maintenance in submarine environments requires exceptional skill and resourcefulness. When an Autodog machine breaks down during a deployment, submarine cooks must diagnose and repair complex refrigeration systems using only the tools and spare parts carried on board. One submarine veteran recalls discovering that his vessel's soft-serve machine wasn't working during his first day of mess duty, prompting him to apply his civilian refrigeration repair skills to fix the unit, a repair so appreciated by the captain, who was very fond of his evening dessert of soft-serve ice cream, that the sailors' mess cooking duties were immediately ended. Service logistics must accommodate submarine watch schedules that operate on 18-hour cycles rather than traditional 24-hour days. Ice cream availability must be coordinated with meal times, watch rotations, and special events, ensuring that crew members working different shifts all have access to frozen desserts. The galley staff must balance continuous ice cream production with the machine's maintenance requirements, cleaning schedules, and the practical limitations of serving ice cream in cramped quarters where crew members eat in shifts of 30 people at a time. Perhaps most remarkably, submarine ice cream service must maintain consistent quality and availability regardless of the submarine's operational status. Whether conducting routine training exercises or operating in potentially hostile waters where the crew's stress levels are at their peak and the need for comfort food becomes most critical. In the depths of the world's oceans, where nuclear submarines patrol silently through waters that have never seen sunlight, the humble Autodog ice cream machine represents something profound about American military culture. These vessels harness the power of nuclear fission, split seawater into breathable air, and navigate using technologies that would have seemed impossible just decades ago. Yet amid all this sophisticated engineering, one of the most important pieces of equipment remains a simple machine that produces vanilla and chocolate soft-serve ice cream. The journey from World War II concrete barges producing 500 gallons of ice cream daily for entire fleets to individual submarines creating frozen comfort food for 150-person crews represents more than technological evolution. It reflects the military's enduring commitment to maintaining the humanity of its personnel under inhuman conditions. Today's submarine chefs continue a tradition established when Secretary Forrestal declared ice cream essential for naval morale. They understand that their Autodog machines serve a mission that extends far beyond dessert production. Every pull of the handle, every perfect swirl of soft serve helps maintain the psychological well-being of crews operating America's most advanced and dangerous military equipment. The next time you enjoy ice cream, remember the submarine chefs 400 feet underwater, creating the same simple pleasure in conditions that would challenge the most resourceful civilian. They've mastered the ultimate contradiction, producing frozen comfort food in the world's most unforgiving kitchen.